Good evening, friends. Today I got a special guest. There's no need for special introductions. This man needs no introduction in the hobby. He is a hobby scholar, also known as Chris. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Victor. Great to be here.
I am honored to have you on. I got a good story for us as we move along here because you did some shout outs here recently that really grabbed my attention anyways, but we'll get to that in a little bit. How are you doing today, man? How's the weather down in Dallas?
It was freezing. It was below freezing for a few days.
Well, what do you call that?
17 to 19 degrees Fahrenheit.
That is pretty cold.
Yep. But now we're back in the 50s, so I think the worst is behind us.
Yeah, you left the Midwest region recently, and you were a Chicago native at one point, right?
That's right.
And you took off on me, but I see how it is. Can't say I blame you. So you're in Dallas now, man. Tell me about your Mavericks. How are they doing?
They're okay. 24-18, the time of recording.
Okay.
Could be better, could be worse. A lot of injuries plaguing the team this year, but I like them. They got a great rookie center named Derek Lively, who's a high-impact player already. I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right. Now, do you? I know you watch like the whole season, right? I'm sure. Like, I don't get into it until like after the Super Bowl is when I start paying attention to the NBA. But you're like all in.
Oh yeah, I mean, Christina and I are season ticket holders, so we go to all the home games, and then we watch the away games on TV. But there's this licensing issue that a lot of home team markets are dealing with. So in order to be able to watch the home games, we have to get this special subscription to Bally Sports. So it's a process. You gotta like really plan it out before the season, how you're gonna take in all the games. And I subscribe to League Pass too, but League Pass blacks out your local team market.
Ain't that something?
I got to manage a couple subscriptions, the tickets, it's a lot.
Yeah. Man, I know I was it became a topic of discussion in the lunchroom the other day at work with last weekend's game with the Chiefs game only being on Peacock. That caused quite an uproar. The man is involved. Corporate America is involved. There's big money to be made, and I don't see it getting any better, anyways.
Yep. I mean, the cut the cord movement was interesting. The cut the cable.
Yeah.
Let's go to a la carte. I'll choose what I want to watch, but it seems to be on the verge of backfiring because now every channel is going to its own subscription or multiple subscription offerings. And by the time you've gathered them all together, not only is it much harder to just navigate from one channel to the other, but it's threatening to be more expensive too, depending on how many channels you are subscribing to.
Exactly. My wife and I, we're big Cubs fans, and we love watching games, but it's one of them things where you got to have the marquee station in order to catch the Cubs game. And it's like $60 a month. It's like, are you kidding me?
Something's got to give.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, Chris, I wanted to get in with you because I wanted to touch base with you on certain things dealing with the rookie card. Yes. But first, I wanted to touch a little bit on kind of your timeline, just kind of get to know you a little bit better. I know, my audience has been probably going to be the same as your audience and vice versa. But for those who may not know kind of the history of Chris and how you really started with House of Jordans, can you briefly touch on the start of House of Jordans and how it evolved all the way to crossover?
Absolutely. So first into hobby content, I would say would be when I started posting on Instagram, which was just posting my collection and stuff. And that would have been in 2016. But after a while of doing that and then getting involved in the Facebook and the social media communities and getting involved on blowout forums and stuff like that, I wanted more. So we started a podcast called The House of Jordans, my cousin and Christina and myself. And we started that in the winter of 2018. And we did that for all of 2019, and then the first half of 2020, and then the pandemic was going on, and I was in my final semester of law school, and that was around the time we decided to start Card Ladder. So the time that House of Jordans required, which was extensive. I mean, I would put together like 8 to 10 pages of notes and then organize them into a show. And then the show itself would be 3-4 hours once a month. So there would be audio editing of the podcast, and there was a preparation. I mean, it was like a 2 to 3 day thing to put out an episode, and just ran out of time to be able to do it. So what we flipped to instead was, all right, we're going to have to put House of Jordans, these fully produced episodes. But instead, Josh and I, Josh, Cardboard Chronicles, co-founder of Card Ladder, CTO of Card Ladder, we said, why don't we just start doing Friday night live streams on Instagram, and it'll be more casual, it'll be more conversational, and we can use it also as a platform to talk about the business that we're starting, which was Card Ladder. So we started doing that in like April-ish of 2020, somewhere April, May of 2020. And then that's kind of how we transitioned from House of Jordans over to the crossover.
Okay, and then you currently do an episode every Friday. Yep. Kind of late for me. About 10 o'clock you start, right?
It's late, yeah. We start right now. We're starting at 10 Central. Well, see, the thing is, my schedule is much more flexible. Josh's schedule is not. Josh has a family. He has kids.
Yeah.
So we try to pick a time when it's not conflicting with the limited time he has to be able to be with his kids before they go to bed. So we set it late at night. But he's in that weird time zone in America that doesn't change.
Right.
So for 6 months out of the year, we're going live at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Wow.
And for the other 6 months, we're going live at midnight Eastern, just depending upon the time zone shifts, because his time zone stays the same.
Right. Wow. I see the challenge there. That makes sense. Well, especially him with a family and kids and that. I mean, it's challenging. How did you guys? I know you guys talked about this on a recent episode, but how did you guys come about the name of Crossover? How did that evolve?
We answered this, and it never sticks. It was like the idea sort of a crossover in the sense of like the way that I look at it always was like, I was a Michael Jordan collector primarily, he a LeBron James collector primarily, and we're crossing over to each other's worlds.
Okay.
I always looked at it, but there were nations given. I think it's so funny. I don't even remember what they were. This is what happens when you do a show in the middle of the night. You don't remember anything you say, and what you do say is probably not worth remembering. But that's how I've always thought of it. And the show, the name was suggested by an Instagram user, 23 over Elo. And I think that was sort of where he was coming from too. It's like a content crossover. Gotcha.
Now, I know in between, the Card Ladder and Crossover, you guys were lucky enough to land a deal with PSA. You guys have a business relationship with PSA. How is that?
It's great.
Is it?
It's very time and time again, having access to Nat Turner, having access to PSA, having access to PSA's family of companies.
Yeah.
Allows us to collaborate in lots of like little ways that might not seem super obvious to the end user of the Card Ladder experience, but that make our lives easier. And it's a great team of people there. And just technically, just to be clear, we're a sister company to PSA.
Okay.
We're under the umbrella of Collectors Holdings.
Okay. That's awesome.
Sure.
So I know you guys have the Card Ladder, but you guys, because I've got the magazine, PSA magazine, which actually is one of the best doggone magazines out there. The price guide in the back, that is you guys' Card Ladder. That's your work, right?
That's right. Okay. We're providing the data, and the credit goes to Josh from the Card Ladder team and Jack Archer at PSA, as well as others. But those two have a working relationship of organizing and pruning the offering and making it look great inside the context of the magazine. So those guys put in a lot of work to organize it, make it look really nice.
It does. It's amazing. It's amazing. So let's move into a video that you released a couple of years ago. I can't believe it's almost 2 years now, but it was about what makes good YouTube content. Okay. And I know that video caused quite a stir, and I've always wanted to ask you, and I never had the chance. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, but why did you make that video?
Well, I think the origin was I appeared on Dakota's channel, Sports Cards Anonymous.
Okay.
And I just kind of started ranting too much about what I wanted to see in hobby content. And needless to say, it certainly didn't reflect the opinion of a lot of people who replied to it, right? But that's where it was coming from. It was like the question was posed to me, hey, or I don't know, this was so long ago. Somehow I got started on the topic. Of what do I like in content? What do I want to see in content? And that set me off.
I think because I made a reaction video on it.
Okay.
But I think it was you were concerned about what the YouTube content, what kind of impression we were going to make with, new leadership and that sort of thing. And just kind of the YouTube content that's out there. And the backlash that you got, I'm sure was pretty intense, right?
I still have people who are letting me know.
Really?
That they took umbrage. So on that point, because I think I said a lot of things, but on the point of like sort of the face of hobby content, one of the things that I worry about, and I worry about a lot of things, and just because I worry about it doesn't mean anything. But what I worry about is, and I'll give an example. So I consume a podcast called the Mavs Moneyball podcast, which is a fan-driven podcast about the Dallas Mavericks, and they go live after every game, and they have lots of takes, and it's good. It satisfies my Mavs content appetite. And I was listening to one episode just passively while I'm working one day, and the host, Kirk Henderson, comes on. He's super upset at Jason Kidd, who's the coach of the Mavericks. And he just says, Jason Kidd keeps feeding us these lines of crap. And it reminds me of one of these sports card salesmen that I see on my social media feed, selling me lines of crap. And that struck a chord with me because I was like, is this the impression that our community is making on sports fans like Kirk Henderson? Are we coming across as these sleazy salespeople? And it's not the fault of any one of us in particular, because I think the reason why Kirk was seeing that content was because somebody was paying for advertisements to show up in targeted feeds of sports fans. And it was probably, somebody selling their business or whatever. And it just came across as something that he didn't like. And it just concerned me. It was like, this isn't if I could choose, if I could have my world, I could wave a magic wand and make things the way I'd like them to be, I wouldn't have that be the representative in any way, shape, or form of our industry.
That's a good point. Good point. And I know I ended up listening to, because I was intrigued by this episode, and I ended up watching a lot of people's reaction videos, and I was taking it all in, and I was just I usually look for things like that inspire me. If something moves me, I'm impelled to create content about it, and this really moved me. But the thing that killed me the most, Chris, and I got to give you credit, man, because here's the thing. You started, people were like, he needs to recant, or, he needs, maybe we just misunderstood what he said. Did he really mean what he said? So all of these headlines are going around about it. And what did you do? You doubled down.
That's my style, man, for better or worse.
I said, no, he didn't. This dude's got a chance to make things, smooth things out. No, you just came right back at it. I believe you were on FD's channel. I forget his name. FD.
Yeah, Rolling with FD.
Rolling with FD. Thank you.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, he was more like, well, don't you think that good YouTube content is up to the viewer? That's their discretion.
Yep.
And in your scholarly Chris just came out, and you went ahead and you gave this beautiful explanation, this dissertation, and you just started breaking it down, and you agreed with the viewer, should decide and all of this. But then you broke it down into like 4 categories. You said that it's got to be authentic, right? It's got to be passionate. You got to be vulnerable, and you got to be well prepared. And then you just like dissected each point. And it was one of them things where when I sat down and I was doing my homework to make a reaction video of my own, and when I was listening to you do this part, I couldn't disagree. I'm like, this dude is right. Get rid of all the drama, get rid of all of the hurt feelings, put your big boy pants on and listen to what the man is saying. And I was like, I can't argue. I really can't. And it was one of them things that I ended up using as a mirror, as a reflection piece for my own content. And I found that I'm well prepared, but I found that I was too well prepared. I was overly prepared. You know what I'm saying? And I was dragging on my points. And I used a lot of that. Well, I need to be more vulnerable and just kind of let things flow a little bit more. And so I really used that. And I thank you that I reflected on what you said, because what you said was very wise. And there's a proverb that says, correct a fool and he will hate you. Correct a wise person and he will love you. And it's very profound, very true statement. But bro, you you killed it, man. So kudos to you. Well, the reason why I brought you on, Chris, is basically your support of the rookie card guidelines. And I want to tell a quick little story before I hand it to you. But I typically like to listen to podcasts to and from work. I have about a 40-minute commute, and I have guys that I listen to. And I was listening to Big Ken. We're at Sports Card Lessons. Shout out to the Wolfpack. But I was listening to, and it was a great episode, as Big Ken's episodes always are. But towards the end of it, you guys started talking about content, and you made you brought an example up. You says, for example, Victor, the rookie card specialist, his content, and you really gave me a shout out to where you really support and appreciate my content, and I can't thank you enough for that. But it got to it took me completely. Big Ken didn't give me a shout out saying, or he didn't say, "Hey, heads up." This just took me, bro. I'm doing 80 miles an hour down the Borman Expressway, and I'm taking a sip of water. And then you said what you said. I about lost the steering wheel when I heard it. But then I noticed that you started. You did the same thing on 2 or 3 other shows. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, I got to have this guy on. Somebody of Chris's stature really showing his support. I got to say thank you, and I appreciate that. But I wanted to bring you on to really dissect this rookie card guidelines with you, and I really wanted to know, how did you come across it, and what were your first impressions?
Yes. So, so let me back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things that I received the most mockery for was my use of the word scholarly. That definitely set people over the edge.
Okay.
And, I wish I could take it back. Like, I just, especially like if it hurt people's, that's when I get very regretful, is if I hurt anybody's feelings who's just really trying to make content and they took what I said as, discouraging them, or, that's not anywhere near in line with my values. But that was the word, that the scholarly word. And I was saying, I would love it if I could have a hobby content experience that had that in it as well. And, I think highly on two levels of your rookie card guidelines and best practices. On the one level, I just think its conclusions are sound, and it's a useful set of guidelines as a set of guidelines. But the other thing that I like about it, maybe the thing I like about it even more, is the process that it reveals about thinking in systems, about structuring one's approach to the hobby in a way that stands up to logical scrutiny and that considers its implications and its ripple effects. And that's what this document does as well, is it's thought through the consequences of establishing a set of guidelines for determining what a quote unquote true rookie card is and distinguishing it from a rookie year card, and what sorts of implications that has for example, cards pre-2006 versus post-2006. I can tell that there was thought put into different sections of this document, like the guideline that a card post-2006 should have some sort of identifier showing that the card is deemed to be a rookie card. But pre-2006, that's not required, because that wasn't that wasn't a custom of the industry at that time. And so I appreciate the distinction made there, the nuance made, the application of a rule, but then the exception to the rule, which is the pre-2006. This document, it's not just valuable as a set of guidelines in and of itself. It's valuable as an insight into the thought process, into the procedure of developing an approach to the hobby that enhances it for not only the person who's developing the thought, but also for the person who's learning about the hobby. And it's also a document that, in my opinion, is incredibly instructive for people working on the manufacturing side of this industry, and for people working in marketplaces and at auction houses who are tasked with coming up with paragraphs or promotional materials for items. And for those people, it's very important, if they call something a rookie card, that they know what it means to call it that.
Right. That
if we call the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, that's another topic that's gotten the crossover some flack, is our discussions about the 52 Topps Mantle. But calling that card a rookie card, and what are the implications of that? System, could a collector develop a system that consistently allows the 52 Topps to be considered a rookie card, and apply those rules in other contexts, and either come up with distinctions or exceptions, but that allow that rule to be consistently applied in all arenas? Same thing goes for a topic that was very controversial for your channel, which is the 86 Fleer or the 84 Star.
Ah, yes.
Okay, and coming up with systems or ways of thinking about that, or something that you do in your content as well, which is difficult to do. I think it's far more difficult to do than most of us realize, is to say there are arguments on either side, and I don't know. I don't, it's perfectly okay if the answer to a question after deliberation, after considering all the sources and the inputs that we should consider, to say, I don't know. So, all right. Sorry, I went far afield there, but
No, you're good. That's well said. I knew, I had a feeling that, you have studied to be an attorney. Or are you an attorney? Or
I'm not.
You are not. Okay.
I graduated law school. I never took the bar.
Gotcha. Is that a goal for the future or no?
My mom wants me to.
Okay. All right.
I don't know, man. The bar that I would have sat for is the California bar, which is like 2 or 3 days long, and it's very difficult. And you're supposed to study for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I haven't had 6 months.
That would be hard to pick it up now, right? No, I figured that you would appreciate it in that aspect because I had an attorney reach out to me who heard about the 10 Commandments of the rookie card. It's just what I called it back then. But he heard it on Dr. Beckett's channel, and he reached out to me, and it like scared the heck out of me because this guy says, "Hey, I'm attorney so-and-so. I want to talk to you about the rookie cards." And I'm like, what's going on here? But no, it was more like, this was very helpful, but I think you can do it better. And he started explaining to me some tips on verbiage, and he started explaining to me the principles of a contractual draft. And he gave me some resources that would kind of help me, like a template to kind of help me organize my thoughts. And he gave me some really good, I don't want to call it legal advice because that's not what it was. He just felt like it was so helpful, but it can be taken to a new level. But yeah, your points that you're making are solid, Chris, and thank you for them. I will share a little nugget that I have because I'm writing a book that I'm hoping to have it published here soon. But what I'm really doing, right, is classifying rookie cards is basically what I'm doing. But when you look at the classification process in science, it's one of the primary responsibilities of a scientist. When you look at an archaeologist in the study of rocks, there's all these rocks, different types of rocks, and all of them have a certain function. And the scientist comes and they have created a system to classify each one, right? And there's value that's pulled from that. When you look at a botanist, the study of plants, only by them classifying these plants and creating these systems is now we know which plants we can eat, which ones are poisonous, which ones we can use for medicine. And so you see there is value in classifying something. We can't just take all the rocks and say, hey, they're all rocks. That's
a great metaphor.
Right. They're all plants. I don't know. They're just plants. And that's kind of what we're doing with the rookie card. They're all rookie cards. How can they all be rookie cards?
They're really good. The rock metaphor is great. The geology metaphor.
Yeah.
I hope that's like in the introduction to the book or something.
It's geology. Thank you. Geologist. Thank you for
good. No, it's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Victor, as an aside, I did come with 3 cards and 2 questions for you.
Okay.
That these are cards in my collection, and I just wonder what you would say, because I think also like something that's worth sort of saying too is that, and I think this is what in the hobby, there's strong resistance in this community to ever being told this is what you should do, this is what you should think, this is how things. The community, a lot of us in the community, myself included, we resist that instinctually. And I think that it's worth prefacing here that, especially in the context of attempts to create guidelines, rules, systems, that these are subject to the individual's review, and that if the individual can improve upon them or disagrees with them or has a separate system, that system should be evaluated on its own merits, for its own internal logic, for its own internal consistencies, for its own adherence to history, if that's the measuring stick, or its own adherence to another principle. Like I think one guiding principle that sort of lurks in the background but isn't explicit in the rookie card guidelines is notifying the manufacturer that these methods of categorizing rookie cards are the collector's way of staking out our interest in preserving some sense of the notion of a rookie card that lines up with history and something to us. And that, to take it a step further, if I were to have a system of rules, one of the things that I would make as a limiting principle, a foundational pillar, is the idea that the manufacturer we should always be pushing the manufacturer in the direction of less, not more. If the manufacturer should feel encouraged to only put one rookie card in a base set, not 10, not 100, not 150.
Correct.
And the manufacturer, if they aren't disciplined by us as the collector, the manufacturer will make unlimited. They want to make as much as they possibly can in the short term, especially. But there is some thinking towards the long term. They don't want to, completely push people away, but they want to maximize the revenue that they can. But us as collectors, that's not necessarily in our best interest. If there's a bazillion rookie cards, there might as well not be any, because the thing that makes a rookie card special is the fact that in some sense it's limited. It's limited to the first year. It's limited to the base set. Limitations is a guiding principle. But there's also the guiding principle as well that it should be commonly available, that the card should be accessible to everybody, that everybody should have a fair shot at it, that we also shouldn't let the manufacturer or the community, we should allow them to think, hey, look, we value something that's commonly available as well. We don't want the rookie card to be the one of one from the set. The rookie card should be available to all collectors, should be widely available. So those are great principles that sort of emanate from this.
And then Chris, my question then is, and here's my struggle. How do you get the attention of the manufacturer? They're up in a high tower that to
Victor,
penetrate.
Victor, I have the answer. All right, I have the answer, and the answer, the only thing that the manufacturer will ever respect or listen to, and I mean it, the only thing, is our wallets. Mm-hmm. And what we spend our money on and how we spend it. That will be the signal that we send. And then if it becomes a fight for the hearts and minds of the collector and a fight for how they use their wallets, then it becomes a subject of persuasion and of logic and of presenting a cogent set of ideas that appeals to people on both it needs to appeal probably on a common sense level, but also on a level of logical consistency, and on a level of history, and on a level of tradition, and on a level of protecting the collector's best interest, and things like that. So,
now, Chris, let me get your thoughts on this.
Sure,
and then we'll get into those three cards that you have.
Okay, all right.
There are certain things that I struggle with. All right. So I'm trying to get the attention of the old heads, right, in the hobby, the veterans, and trying to get them to understand that it's not 1984 anymore, that the hobby has evolved. There are certain things now that are accepted today that weren't back then. In the spirit of the hobby decides. Like one of them is the parallel rookie card of the base set. Now that is one thing that I believe there is a large hobby consensus that views the parallel rookie card of the base set as true rookie cards. And I fought that, and that has been like my biggest fight in this entire thing is the parallel base rookie card. And it took me purchasing a new vehicle to realize there might be some merit to that. It's one of them things where the hobby has evolved in that aspect. What's your take on that?
What do you mean by it took you purchasing a new vehicle?
Oh, yeah, we purchased I purchased my wife a new vehicle, or we purchased a new vehicle, I should say. And I kind of explained to them what we wanted, and they brought me out like the base model. And to be honest, the base model of the vehicle was rather boring. It was just really bland. And so I said, well, you got a different model. And they started bringing me out all these like different like sport packages. And I'm like, I really liked the high end sport package. I'm like, okay, you see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's sharp. But at the same time, it was the exact same car. It was the same engine. It was the same transmission. It was the same body type. It was just dressed up a little differently.
Got it.
And that was kind of the revelation that I had.
It's another great metaphor. It's another great metaphor. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, I am not a collector of base rookie cards. I love the parallels. The rarer, the better. The shinier, the better.
Sure.
And two of the examples that I brought are one-of-one parallels to base rookie cards. Well, actually, that's part of the question that I have. Actually, is whether they are parallels to base rookie cards. But I am in the camp after deliberation. I am in the camp of no parallels as true rookie cards, which doesn't mean that the parallels aren't desirable or even more desirable, because at the end of the day, it's still a parallel to the true rookie card. But I'm in favor of a world where there are fewer rather than more true rookie cards. And so to take the example of 2018-19 basketball products, which I'm pretty familiar with, if we limit the scope of true rookie cards to base set, and in the instance where there are multiple appearances of the player within the base set, the first appearing card in the base set, we have around 30 true rookie cards. Mm-hmm. And then things get interesting. One of the most interesting true rookie cards from 2018 is the flawless base. It's numbered to 20. So that becomes suddenly a really interesting card in the context of it being a true rookie card. Numbered to the base set, first appearing, most common card. But if we go the other way and we allow parallels to come in, then 2018-19 Prism alone is going to offer 40-ish true rookie cards because of all the parallels. You have the blue and the red and the orange and the Mojo and the pink Pulsar and the gold and the black and the blue shimmer and the red shimmer. And we're talking like 30s, 40s of total parallels. And now, and then you do that across every product, right? And now, we have hundreds and maybe even thousands of true rookie cards. And at that point, what makes it special? What makes it a true rookie card? There's too many. Thousands is too many. And then I also think that the magic of the true rookie card being defined as narrowly as possible, excluding the parallels, is that even though you only have 25, 30-ish in a given year, almost all of them, setting aside like the National Treasures true rookie card, numbered to the base set. I mean, it's an RPA and it's numbered to 99. So those are tough. The flawless out of 20 base is pretty tough. But for the most part, Optic base, Donruss base, Prism base, Select base. Well, that's a question that I'm going to get to here, Select with you, but these are commonly available cards. These are cards that anybody can collect. And that to me is the sweet spot of a true rookie card, is a card that's commonly available, but that there's only 25 or 30. If somebody wanted to go out there and build Luka Doncic's true rookie card checklist, here's the 30 cards or whatever. I like that.
That's a good argument. That's a good argument. And I've been on that. When it comes to my PC, I'm on that camp. I really am. But but if you were good to ask me on how this thing has evolved, when I say parallels are not rookie cards, it just fires up anger in people, and I have had some backlash with this thing.
Sure. Well, and you know why? I mean, the reason why, if we can just, well, one of the reasons why we can be completely honest with ourselves is because there is an implication that if something is not a true rookie card, that it's less desirable, or that it's not as good, or that it's not as valuable.
Right.
And that is, I can see why people get upset about that. You know, if a person is saying, hey, your card isn't as special as you think it is, you know, if that's how they take it, then, you know, that could be offensive, right? That could be so, but that's why sort of the solution to that is, well, everybody can develop a set of guidelines for what they believe is the true rookie card. Or you can sort of, you know, here's my way of approaching it. I regard true rookie cards is not including parallels, but that doesn't make me love the parallels any less. I'm not a collector of true rookie cards. I am a collector of the parallels to the true rookie cards, you know, and I'm a collector of non-true rookie cards and non-parallel and parallels to non-true rookie cards. And
right.
You know, I'm a collector of all of it. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't collect or that those cards aren't special. Or, you know, so, you know, there's a number of ways to attack this topic and to develop a way of framing it and thinking about it that brings us happiness.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at your 3 cards there.
All right. So 2 of them are from the same set, and I have a question for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this pertains to 2017 Select Football. And I'm going to show you 2 cards, all right? This is one of my favorite cards. I just recently got it. This is the 2017 Premier Level, Black 1/1 Mahomes. And then this is from the same level, the 2017 Premier Level Christian McCaffrey, Black 1/1. Okay. Not true rookie cards. These are parallels. But, and this is where I become interested in the true rookie designation. McCaffrey, his card is numbered 155. Okay. Number 155. Mm-hmm. He has a card in the concourse level and in the field level as well. Concourse comes first, then premier level, and then field level in terms of sequential numbering. All right. So for the McCaffrey, I don't think that this card is a parallel to his true rookie even. It's a parallel to a rookie year card. It's a parallel to his second base card that appears in the set. Now, if this were concourse, then I could say that that's a parallel to his true rookie card. All right, that's just my system. Okay. Doesn't mean it's the right system, okay? But for the Mahomes, it's a little bit different because Mahomes does not appear in concourse. So for Mahomes, all is premier, which is card number 103, which is Mahomes' first appearance in the set, in the base set, and then you have field level, which comes after. And so for Mahomes, I do think that this card is the 1/1 parallel to his true rookie card in Select. Just my system. My system says fewer true rookie cards is better than more, but here's some of the pushback that I get and that I can imagine. But perhaps the strongest pushback is, well, wait a minute, buddy. This is people speaking to me. Yeah. Wait a minute, pal. Yeah. Field level in football or courtside in basketball, these are by far the most desired. These, when it comes to the base set, the field level and the courtside are the rarest. When you look at what the manufacturer named them, you know, field level is better than premier level, which is better than concourse. And same thing in basketball. Courtside is better than premier level, is better than concourse. So clearly the manufacturer is signaling to us by making the base variation rarer and by how they titled it, that these, the premier, that the field level, that the court side, this is supposed to be the best rookie card. This is supposed to be the one that you want the most, and the manufacturer has designed it that way. So it would be inconsistent with the manufacturer's intent if I were to say that the Concourse McCaffrey is the true rookie card, or if I were to say that the premier level Mahomes is a true rookie card, because the intent of the manufacturer is that the most desired card should be the field level, and the most desired card should be the rookie card. So if we consider that, that argument, that formal argument, if we consider that, then we should be regarding the field level as the true rookie card.
That's quite the conundrum, and I would say this: which one of the three is the easier one to pull?
Okay,
it's going to be the Concourse. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right. So that in a sense is the base set is the Concourse. And so that carries a lot of weight when it comes to rookie card designation. The other two, is it the same image on all three cards?
Nope, different image.
So now I can look at this as an image variant. Okay. I'm okay with image variants so long as the card back is the same and the card number is the same. Do all three cards have that?
Nope. So Concourse is between number 1 and number 99, I think. Premier is number 100 to 199, and field level is number 200 to 299 or 300. So you have 3 different numbering tiers.
I'm not talking about the serial number. I'm talking about the card number.
Yeah, this is the card number.
Oh, that's the card number. Okay,
yep.
So yeah, so then that changes my perspective entirely on something like that. Now, the most desired, that argument to me is subjective.
Right.
You like the one of one. I would prefer the Concourse.
Yep.
So how can we use that as a gauge? I really don't think that's a good. I hear you, but that's going to be the rarer one, more desirable one is going to be for a certain amount of people, a certain type of person who can afford that. And that just, there's a lot of ambiguity there that we got to be careful of. The spirit of the rookie card is that there should be a fair and equal chance at owning it. And when there's a one of one that's completely different from the base card, it now turns into a rookie year card according to my system. Well,
Victor, this is why I've been so impressed with your content, and why we don't message, we don't, yeah. we have bumped into each other a few times,
yeah.
But I was so, when I had my my thoughts, my ruminations, or whatever, my meditations 2 years ago or whatever on content.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew that I wasn't getting it, and I knew that I wasn't making it as well.
Mm-hmm. And
it was around the time that I found the rookie card guidelines, and this is a new document as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
You released it about a year ago, a little bit less. It was around the time that I found this that I said, this is what I've been looking for. And it's because, we could talk about this for a long time. We're not going to here. This could be hours of discussion about one set of football cards. But it's not just about that one set, because the conclusions that we come to and the reasoning that we use to get there then needs to be applicable in other contexts to other situations too.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we're changing our rules every time we go to a different card or a different set,
correct,
to form fit our feelings or what our desire is.
Correct.
Okay, we have logical inconsistency, which
Bingo.
which I don't like. So some people can live with the logical inconsistencies. I don't like it, which is and they can be fine over there, and I'll be fine over here.
Right.
So that's why when I came into this document and these discussions that we can have, and plus these discussions, they inflame the emotions, they bring out the passion in people quite a bit. It's the right recipe. It is scholarly, if I may. It is thought provoking. It has ramifications beyond the scope of the immediate discussion, and above all, it provides guiding principles for forming a collection and how to think about one's collection and how to approach one's collection and how to interpret new products, how to view a checklist, how to analyze a checklist, how it's another lens through which to interpret the markets and so on and so forth. This is the type of content and discussions that I was craving, but that I didn't even know that this what I was looking for until I stumbled into this document.
And here's the thing, Chris. It's not if we put on the hat of a scientist and classification, we don't want to say that the rookie year card is less valuable or less worthy. No, right. It's just a classification, an identifier in order to distinguish what is truly what. Not to say that rookie year card isn't valuable or beautiful or desired, because it most definitely is. But to bring order into the chaos, the classification or the proper identification is needed, in my opinion.
Very well said.
Was there a third card you had?
There was. Okay. So this pertains to the 1996 Flair Showcase set. All right. Very important set for, among other reasons, it has the Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
Well, that's that. Okay, this gets to the heart of my question. So I showed you the Michael Jordan, but because this was so interesting about the true rookie card designation is that it has other ramifications because if the approach that we use to categorize something as a true rookie card also could be applicable to determining what is a non-rookie year player's first appearance in a base set that might have multiple cards of that player. And so that's the situation that we have with 1996 Flair Showcase. So the way that this set works, the way that the checklist works, is there are 3 different base sets, or maybe let me not prejudice the question. The way that this checklist works is there are 3 rows. There's row 0, there's row 1, and there's row 2. Each of these rows is numbered like 1 to 100, roughly, something like that. And a player like Michael Jordan appears in all 3 rows. So, he's card number, he's row 2, seat 23. I think this is regarded as card number 23. And I think he's, I should have looked at the checklist, but let's just, for the sake of argument, assume Michael Jordan is card number 23 in row 2. He's card number 23 in row 1. And he's card number 23 in row 0. And the way that those rows work, therefore, is different than Select. Select, you have Concourse 1 through 100, you have Premier 101 through 200, and Field Level 201 to 300. Okay, but they're all numbered to the same. You have 3 different cards of the player, but they're all numbered. But here we have one Michael Jordan card number 23, another Michael Jordan card number 23, and another Michael Jordan card number 23. Mm-hmm. And they're different. One is called row 2, row 1, and row 0. And they all look, they're completely different. Different design, different picture, different everything. Okay.
Even on the back, there's different images.
The back, different images. Everything is different. Okay. So the pack odds indicate that row 2 is the most commonly available card. It has
Really?
The most easily accessible pack odds.
Okay. Yep.
Row 1 is a little bit rarer, and row 0 is the rarest. And the population reports reflect this. The prices reflect this. And so there's a discussion, there's a debate among Michael Jordan collectors to say which is the first appearing Michael Jordan card in 1996 Flair. Is it the row 2, which is the most commonly available, which lends some credibility to the idea that row 2 is the base set and row 1 and row 0 are not the base sets?
Do the pop reports support that?
What do you mean by that?
As far as the row 2 is the most graded?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, they do. And so the question then is, and then for Kobe, it has a whole different implication, right? Which is the true rookie card for Kobe,
right?
Or do somebody could have a system that says all 3 are the true rookie card. Mm-hmm. Somebody could have a system that says row 2 is a true rookie card. Somebody could have a system that says row 0 is a true rookie card. But there's confusion or there's debate because row 0 for Michael Jordan is way more valuable.
Yeah,
and it's way more valuable than row 1, and it's way more valuable than row 2. And so there's again the connection is made that hey, the manufacturer intended this to be the most desired card. It's the rarest card, and it's the most valuable card. So it doesn't seem right to say, this doesn't get to be a rookie card, or it doesn't get to be the true rookie card.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is, but what does the system say? What do my rules say? What does my process say? The same process that I would apply in any context. What does it say here?
Yeah.
And if you go that way, kind of point you towards row 2 as being the first appearing, and therefore the true rookie card for Kobe, or the first appearing Michael Jordan. And it has an extra emphasis for Michael Jordan because what I have is the one pair. There's only one parallel to it, and what I have here is the parallel, the Legacy Collection parallel.
Right.
And that was the first. My understanding is that's the first, or one of the first instances of a serial numbered pack pulled Michael Jordan card that's standard size. Mm. So that's important. It matters to people. If they can say, well, I have the row 2, and that's the first appearing Michael Jordan card in the set, it's the true base. Or if people can say, I have the row 0, this has an equal claim to being a base as the row 2, or this is the primary base because it's the rarest. And so on.
Sometimes the card manufacturers do such a number on these sets. I remember talking to Dr. Beckett on this specific subject, and it was his struggle was no sooner as they figured things out, the card manufacturers would produce this type of set, right, that just kind of defies all of the guidelines set in place. With that said, we still have like a conundrum on our hands, right? With this type of thing. And I'm one to where, I lean a little bit heavier towards the side of what the card manufacturer said on the pack, which they said that row 2 was kind of the easier one. So that spells out to me that that's more the base set card, the easier one to get. And then, but it's one of them things where they did such a number on this set, man. It's one of them things where I have also speak of, there's going to be a chapter in my book of the most debated rookie cards in the hobby. And there's certain things that I do that, there's certain things that the card manufacturers do that defy logic, defy principle, defy tradition. And it's using the Star Jordan and the Fleer Jordan, for example. Both sides make good arguments. It's like, where do we land here? And I land on the side of like a star asterisk, meaning that this card is debatable as a rookie card. And there's only a handful of cards that I give that identifier to. But I would say even this Fleer Kobe, right? It really, I would have to lean towards row 2 as the true, and the other 2 are rookie year because nothing else lines up.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
These are great topics. But you know what else I've found, Victor, is that I've subjected people to these discussions as well. And most people don't enjoy them as much as you and I do.
Well, if I got a row 0, then I want the row 0, right?
That is a factor. There's a lot of what I own bias in the hobby, which I'm guilty of as much as anybody else is. And then there's also, it gets very pedantic. Okay? It gets very pedantic. Yeah. And at the end of the day, for most people, this is a hobby. And, for a lot of people, the price is the scorecard. And so if this is the most valuable card, then it's the best card, then it's the true card, and it can be, and that's where I think I get nervous or worried about my own efforts in this arena, is that we don't want to be too disruptive of the status quo, at least not all at once.
Right.
But instead incrementalism and gradual change is better. A more conservative approach, a more Burkean approach is to say, let's not shake the snow globe. Let's just, because there are a lot of institutions in place in terms of hierarchies and how people perceive and value things. And to throw that off or to alter it because of classifications or designations that significantly alter the way people look at things, if they do in fact significantly alter the way people look at things, that can be catastrophic for the stability of the market and for the desirability of collecting cards. If people say, well, look, I always thought that this was the true rookie card. I paid a bunch of money for this. Right. And now it's not. Screw this hobby.
Right. Well said. No, and I am mindful of that, and I am cautious of that. And that's how come I always say, listen, I'm not diminishing the cards. Like I mentioned earlier, it's more of a classification or understanding. The concept of the rarest card or the most expensive card being the true rookie card, to me is outrageous. It's ludicrous. It's the loud minority that has that, and unfortunately that's what kind of grabs a lot of people's attention. But it's not the silent majority, the regular guy that wants to collect his favorite player and can't afford not much more than a base set card or maybe a slight parallel. To me, that's the silent majority. And there has been such a devaluing of the base rookie card here in the last couple of years that, to me, that has more implications or ramifications long term than anything else. Because if I can't compete with the big boys and I'm just a small fish in a big pond, and I post my base rookie card because I'm excited about it, and all I get is a bunch of comments laughing at me, I'm out. I'm done. So it's like it's a delicate walk, man, and I appreciate your insight. I would like to close. I know we're coming up against the hour here, but I would like your opinion, Chris, on because you have your hand on the pulse of the hobby as far as what's selling and kind of market caps and all of that. What's your current state of the market?
That's a great question. And if I may just very briefly put a punctuation mark on something from the previous discussion, which is that there isn't a system that is better than another necessarily. People can develop different systems of collecting that prioritize different things, and those systems all have to be judged on their own merits. and the system is ultimately the prerogative of the collector. But what I do feel, more a place where I feel there's less gray area is that I think having a system is better than not having one. So it is in that regard, if somebody says to me, I think the row 0 is better, and here are my reasons why, and I consistently apply these reasons in all situations, or not just that it's better, but I think the row 0 is the true rookie card as well, or the true base, and here's why. But I apply these rules in all contexts. I say fine. And not only that, I respect that system. So there's different systems or different approaches, just like I respect yours quite a bit. And in your system has the distinct advantage of having been codified and having been organized into a document that anybody can read and look through and modify or critique or incorporate into their own system. But I encourage everybody to have their own system. That's made collecting a lot more fun for me, which is what it's about at the end of the day. It's like I have fun philosophizing about things like this.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really fun. It makes the hobby more fun to me. Okay, now to the question of finger on the pulse market.
Yeah.
The market has been correcting, has been crashing as a general trend for almost 2 years. Now, there are outliers to that. There are players who buck that trend. If you're a Card Ladder member and you have and you haven't turned off the emails you send out every day for it's almost been 4 years now that we've been doing this. Every day an email goes out that highlights 3 cards that have set an all-time high, meaning they have never sold for less. And it's been almost 4 years, but every night when we're done reviewing the sales, there's 3 more cards that we have that we're sending out in an email the next day that set an all-time high. So there are exceptions, always exceptions. There's players who buck the trend. In the context of the NBA, you have players like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You have players like Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson. You have players whose cards are setting record highs. In the context of the NFL, you have Brock Purdy, you have Lamar Jackson, who isn't setting all-time highs, but whose market has made a massive turnaround this season. Hockey, you have your baseball, you have your examples. There's always, and not just active. I named active players, but it's not just active. There's retired players.
Mm-hmm.
There's iconic sets. Like one of the sets that continues to set all-time highs all the time is the 1987-88 Fleer basketball set. The PSA 10 pop is low. It seems to be a set that people are pursuing and building, and it kind of like how with PMG Reds, like it'll be like this Olden Polonese just sold for a few $1,000s. Like what the heck, But it's the appeal of the set. Well, we see similar things happening with the 1987 Fleer, where like a PSA 10 of Bill Cartwright or something. I'm not sure if he's even in that set. I'm just making up a name off the top of my head. But like a PSA 10 of a player who would be considered a common,
right,
for a few $1,000.
Wow.
Well, then you look at the pop. It's pop 30 something or whatever, and then it's like, okay, well, somebody, this is a set that's being pursued. Second year Fleer basketball of the 80s. So there are these pockets. There are these areas. It's as much as I describe the general trend as down, and it is, there really isn't a general trend in the sense that there are pockets or areas of the hobby that are doing well. But in terms of prices, on the average, on the whole, especially in categories like ultra modern, and far less in vintage and pre-war, but there's a downtrend, and it's been trending down for about 2 years. In the most extreme cases, you have indexes for like ultra modern cards and Card Ladder that will show a collapse of 50-60% from the peak value 2 years ago. And then in less extreme examples, you might have a category like vintage baseball that might be down 10% or something more modest. something like that. So that's prices, okay? But prices are half of the equation. The other half of the equation is volume. And Card Ladder has a metric within there's a little tab on the side menu called Industry. And within that tab, there's a metric that shows you the monthly volume across all the marketplaces that we track. That would be eBay, that would be PWCC, that would be Golden, Heritage, Robert Edward, Memory Lane, SCP, MySlabs, others that I'm not mentioning right now there, but there's quite a few. Mm-hmm. And across those marketplaces, which we have tracked, we track them contemporaneously and historically. And across those marketplaces, we give you one number. This is the online total volume for trading cards in the secondary market for singles across these marketplaces. And the month of December, the most recent month we have on record, December 2023, had a total volume of 190 million. Now compares favorably to the previous few months, which had been lower, which had been 170, 180, 160. In fact, December's 190 million volume is the second highest volume that we've seen in the last 15 months. So you would have to go back 15 months to find volumes on the level of 190 million, with one exception. The month of August 2023 was a big outlier. It went for it was like around 220 million in volume. But other than August 2023, December 2023 is the highest month we have on record for the last 15 months. So strong volume. And the thing that makes that particularly noteworthy was I was like very confident that December 2023 was going to be lower than November 2023, just because that's been the trend. The trend for the last few years has been September, October, November, December, they descend like steps leading out of your house, just as a step down each month. And then January comes and volumes start ticking up a little bit again. But not the case. This year, December was particularly strong. And it's not because there was some, $50 million heritage auction or something like that, which did impact August. So one of the reasons why August 2023 was such a big month was because Heritage had a really big auction. I believe it had the 52 Topps Mantle SGC 9.5 in it, which went for around or something, somewhere in that ballpark. So that's how you can sometimes get like an outlier month, but that wasn't the case for December. There wasn't some big $50 million auction that happened or anything. It was just a strong month. So
would you attribute that, you think, to maybe the hobby getting smarter, or is it just current trends?
Well, that's a great question, because our indexes can only track so many cards. And part of the reason for that is because any card that we track, that we actively track, it has a researcher, whether it's myself, Christina, or the other members of our research team, it has somebody reviewing every sale to make sure that we're not permitting shield auctions, sham sales, erroneously titled items from fraudulent sellers, to make sure we're not permitting that data to pollute the data set. So that puts a limitation to some extent on the amount of cards that we can track. And then there's a further limitation on the index. And the indexes are limited by two restrictions that we impose to make sure that the indexes remain up to date. And those restrictions are, number one, an index cannot contain a card that does not have at least one sale in the last 12 months. And the second restriction is that the card must have had it must have had at least one sale in the last 6 months, and it must have had at least two sales in the last 12 months. A card must, so the rare cards, the really rare cards that only sell once every 2 years, those don't make it into the indexes. The indexes are limited to cards that have at least some semblance of a transaction volume that will give a dynamism to the index. So the index isn't just packed full of these stagnant cards that only sell once every 2 years. That doesn't tell us anything. And in fact, in a price-weighted index model like the one we have, those actually create the impression that prices aren't moving when that may or may not be true. So there are limitations on the indexes, both in the types of cards that we track and the types of cards that we permit entry into the indexes. That means that those indexes are not capturing certain trends in certain parts of the market that exist and that are very appealing and desirable to collectors. So if as a fun example, if you went to Card Ladder's sales history, which is over 75 million sales, that isn't just the cards that we actively track and verify, it's all sales.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to that and you set the filter to PWCC Weekly and then search for Logo Man cards, you will see mind-boggling sales. You'll see Alonzo Mourning post-playing days Immaculate Logo Man cards selling for low 5 figures. Alonzo Mourning, post-playing years, a great player by any stretch, but not a top 75.
Right.
And it's not a playing years card. It's a Logo Man and Immaculate or whatever. And, this card is gathering a great price. Or, you can look like in the most recent PWCC Weekly, and I'm mentioning them because I was looking at some of their sales right before I came on. A Robert Parrish Logo Man autograph, issued 20 some odd years after he retired, sold for $3,500 in the most recent PWCC Weekly. Logo Man autograph of Robert Parrish, great player. Okay, great player, but
Hall of Famer, yeah,
Hall of Famer, multiple titles, great Celtic, had a stint with the Bulls, but by no means a Mount Rushmore in terms of who players collect. He's not on that. Right. He's nowhere close to that. But here's this Logo Man autograph card of him from, it's like a 40th year card selling for $3,500. So and that's a card that will never show up in an index. Probably, maybe it'll sell again. Maybe it won't sell for 20 years. Maybe we'll never even see it again. And that card is commanding a really staggering price. $3,500 is a lot of money, no matter what way you slice it. And here's this card doing so well. So for as many instances as I can give you of like ultra modern cards that were clearly in a bubble correcting, there's also these instances of Alonzo Mourning Logo Mans and Robert Parrish Logo Mans, Chris Webber Topps Chrome Superfractors. Just there's all these other instances.
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn 90s cards.
Oh, come on.
They're just thriving right now. They're doing incredibly well right now. And these are the cards that don't lend themselves to tracking instruments for markets. They just don't. And that, in my opinion, makes them even more desirable.
Yeah.
So there's as much as I can say about indexes and trends and stuff. I can also give you these other anecdotal instances of cards that are bucking that trend quite a bit.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. We're up against the hour here, Chris, man. I appreciate you so much for coming on. I hope our relationship can continue to flourish. I ended up, I had Card Ladder when it first came out, man. And I hung on there as long as I could, but you guys were building the database at that time, and I had to. It wasn't meeting my needs at the time, and I had to bail.
Understandable, man. No hard feelings, Victor. You know what? It is a fee. If there is a service, then those $15 a month. I am not a person who subscribes to many things.
Yeah.
So I get it. I totally get it. And we do make like some stuff freely available, 3-month sales histories of the cards we verify profiles for and stuff. And our indexes are freely available too, I think, with a 3-month limit. But Victor, let's see what we can do to get you back on. Maybe the data can inform content.
You guys got base cards in there?
Yeah, we got a few base cards in there. A few true rookie cards. Maybe you could go through, Victor, and give us, you could say, look, this card gets a special designation because this is the true rookie card. We'll put a badge of you on there.
Yeah, right. All right, Chris, man, I appreciate you, brother. That's going to be it for this episode. Chris, where can we find you? You're very well known, right? Chris_HOJ, right?
Yes, that's me on Instagram. Yep.
Where else?
And on YouTube, we put out our crossover podcast once a week on the Card Ladder YouTube channel. So that's a good place too.
Very, very good content. Very entertaining content. It's I usually have it on when I'm doing something that, you know, at the desk or something, filtering through cards or whatever, or I have to chop it up on my route to work.
Sure.
I'll listen to it in chunks, but very entertaining, very great work, man. Keep up the good work. Say hi to Christina for me, and I appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you for having me.
All right.